Okay, so have you ever noticed someone brilliant just vanish? One day they are everywhere. They answer every text. They lead the room. They hold your group together. Then overnight, the screen goes dark. They cut off the group chat. They stop coming to events. They move to a new city without telling anyone. Most people think these people just got arrogant. They think high achievers grow cold. They assume smart people look down on everyone else. But that is a lie. That is the comforting story we tell ourselves to feel better about being left behind. The truth is much stranger. It is much darker. And if you're the type of person who stays quiet while everyone else complains, this script was written for you. There is a hidden psychological mechanism that forces intelligent minds to build a wall and step behind it. It is not pride. It is a survival instinct. And the final reason why they do this changes everything you thought you knew about human connection. Let us start with the first layer. It begins with cognitive energy and social overload. High-intelligence individuals process the world differently. They do not just hear your words. They read your posture. They notice the micro-expressions you try to hide. They analyze the unspoken dynamic in every room they enter. Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman wrote extensively about mental exertion. System 2 thinking is heavy. It takes massive fuel. When a smart person sits in a room, their brain runs continuous background simulations. They anticipate conflicts before they start. They calculate emotional outcomes. They manage the moods of people who cannot manage themselves. While average minds coast through casual conversations, high-capacity minds burn clean fuel at maximum speed. Over time, this creates a profound neurochemical fatigue. Everyday social life stops feeling like connection. It starts feeling like manual labor. So they stop showing up. Not because they hate you, but because their battery hit zero. Isso leva diretamente ao segundo driver, a burdena de padrões invisíveis. Smart people see estruturais problemas longo before outras duas. Em famílias, em workplaces, em friendships, they see a tóxica cycle formando 3 steps em adiante. Eles tentam dar conselho, tentam advertir, mas seres humanos raramente buscam soluções. Eles querem validação. Psicólogo Erich Fromm falou sobre o escape da liberdade. Muita gente prefere confortantes ilusões sobre duras realidades. Quando um smart people constantemente aponta o dinâmico, eles são taxados de difíceis. Eles são chamados de cínicos. Eventualmente, a mente inteligente percebe uma realidade dolorosa. Eles estão falando um completamente diferente dialeto. They watch people they care about walk into predictable traps over and over again. Watching preventable tragedy play out in slow motion causes immense psychological distress. It is traumatic to watch a wreck you predicted. To save their own sanity, they decide to step away from the track entirely. Now we enter the third, deeper tier, the dark psychology of selective isolation. Highly intelligent people are prime targets for subtle, covert manipulation. Narcissistic personalities and emotional parasites are naturally drawn to high-value, capable individuals. Why? Because smart people are natural problem solvers. They have high hyper-empathy paired with strong accountability. Parasitic people exploit this combination. They dump their emotional garbage onto the smart person's desk. They turn the intelligent friend into an unpaid therapist. Author Robert Greene writes about the dynamics of power and emotional dependency. Manipulators use guilt to anchor high-capacity people to their personal messes. Por anos, a smart pessoa tolera isso. Daí pensam que estão ajudando, mas eventualmente seu analítico brain spota o algoritmo. Eles realizam que a outra pessoa não quer se curar. Eles desejam um influxo constante de trabalho emocional. Quando uma smart pessoa vê esse código, eles não negociam, eles não argumentam. Eles fecham o acesso permanentemente. Eles desaparecem, porque cirurgicamente eles são o único escudo a fundo de endless emotional drain. Which brings us to the fourth reason, the weight of the ideal persona. Many brilliant individuals develop their high intelligence as a survival mechanism in early childhood. Sigmund Freud noted that high intellectualization is a primary defense mechanism. When a home environment is unpredictable or emotionally chaotic, a child learns that feeling is dangerous. Thinking, however, is safe. Performance brings quiet. High grades bring peace. Competence creates safety. So they grow up into adults who are praised strictly for what they do, never for who they are. They become the strong one, the fixer, the reliable mind. They build what Carl Jung called a powerful persona, but this creates a massive emotional wound. Deep down, they suspect that if they ever show vulnerability, the world will reject them. They feel they are only loved for their utility. When life hits them hard and their cup empties, they refuse to let the world see them break. They will not allow their polish to crack. Instead of showing weakness, they choose ghosting. They vanish to protect the illusion of their own self-sufficiency. This brings us to the fifth reason, the evolution of low-friction solitude. Most people fear being alone. They run from silence. They fill every empty hour with noise, light, and social noise. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche wrote about the concept of the hermit. He noted that higher minds require vast deserts of solitude to process their own reality. Intelligent people learn early that solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is control. It is absolute autonomy. In solitude, there are no unwritten rules to decode. There is no passive aggression to navigate. There are no delicate, fragile egos to balance. Over time, the smart person runs a subconscious cost-benefit analysis. On one side is the dynamic mess of average social life. On the other side is the clean, high-focus silence of their own inner world. The math is simple. The ROI on most social interactions is bankrupt. Once a mind experiences the absolute peace of zero-drama solitude, the bar for who gets access to their life becomes impossibly high. If your presence is not more peaceful than their solitude, you lose. E agora chegamos à sexta razão, o último grau de destruição de identidade. Esta é a depite dos desejos. Muitas pessoas acreditam que vanecer é um ato de fuga. Elas pensam que a pessoa está fugindo de algo de fora. Isso está errado. Ela está fugindo de quem se tornaram quando estão ao seu lado. Quando uma pessoa inteligente fica em ambientes baixos, autodrama, ela sente que está regredindo. Para se encaixar, ela tem que baitar a língua, tem que fingir interesse em pequenas conversas, tem que pretender não notar desrespeito, tem que reduzir o vocabulário, rebaixar os objetivos, suprimir os instintos. Marcos Aurelius e os estoicos mostraram como é perigoso deixar que o caos externo corrompa sua ordem interna. O Smart Persona realiza que está na roda errada, está destruindo o seu real eu, isso obrigando ele a jogar um papel que detesta. A saída suave não é uma rejeição ao mundo, é um ato violento de autopreservação. Eles desaparecem porque é a única forma de salvar própria identidade, de ser diluída a nada. This brings us to the big reveal, the true mechanism behind the sudden exit. Everything we have talked about leads to one single massive reality. Smart people do not disappear because they stop caring. They disappear because they cared too much for too long without a return on investment. The sudden disappearance is never actually sudden. You only experienced it as sudden because you were not paying attention. To you, it looked like a light switch flipped off overnight. But to them, it was a years-long slow-motion decay. It was 100 unread signals. It was dozens of quiet boundaries that you unknowingly stepped over. It was dozens of subtle bids for deep connection that were met with shallow responses. They gave you dozens of silent second chances. You did not even know you were being tested. They observed, they calculated, they adjusted their expectations downward step by step, and when the final line was crossed, their brain reached a definitive, logical conclusion. The diagnostic was complete. The connection was non-viable. The exit was not executed in anger. It was executed with cold, clear precision. Think back to the people who drifted away from your life, the ones who stopped reaching out, the ones who slowly let the group chats die. The quiet thinker who used to fix every crisis at work, who suddenly handed in a resignation and moved away. You likely thought they were distant. You thought they were weird. You thought they were better than everyone else. But look through the mirror now. Consider what they were carrying while standing in the room with you. Consider the sheer weight of being the only person reading the emotional map. Consider how many times they held back their true thoughts just to keep your peace intact. Consider how exhausting it is to constantly give clarity to people who operate in chaos. They did not abandon you out of spite. They withdrew their presence because their presence was being converted into free fuel for everyone else while leaving them entirely empty. If you recognize yourself in this description, if you are the one who feels the urge to pack your bags, cut the cord, and retreat into the dark, you need to hear this. Your retreat is understandable. It is a logical defense mechanism born out of self-preservation. But prolonged isolation comes at a terrifying hidden cost. Carl Jung warned that what you do not bring to consciousness returns as fate. When you use total ghosting as your primary boundary tool, you protect yourself from pain, but you also cut yourself off from true connection. You lock yourself inside a clean, sterile room of your own making. You become a prisoner of your own high standards. Solitude can easily shift from a sanctuary into a fortress, and eventually into a tomb. You do not have to burn down every bridge just because the traffic is heavy. You do not have to choose between total self-sacrifice and complete isolation.
O passo forward requer uma forma mais madura de integração emocional. Trua estrença não é a habilidade de desaparecer nas sombras quando tudo fica pesado. Trua estrença é a capacidade de manter um limite em tempo real, sem fugir. É o poder de dizer não com a sua voz em vez de sua ausência. É aprender a expressar suas necessidades claramente, a aceitar que pessoas vão lhe decepcionar e a deixá-las falhar sem pular para resolvê-las. Você tem que aprender a diminuir suas expectativas dos outros sem totalmente revogar o acesso ao seu coração. A meta não é isolar seu intelecto do mundo. A meta é encontrar o pequeno e calmo grupo de pessoas que não te esgosta, as que não te demandam performance.
Os que trazem combustível limpo para a mesa, ao invés de queimar o seu. E se você está do outro lado dessa dinâmica, se você perdeu alguém smart e capaz que simplesmente voltou a você, tenha uma análise crítica do que você exigia delas. Pare de assumir que a partida delas foi um ataque pessoal ou um ato aleatório de arrogância. Reconheça o quase bio que você estava entregando a todas as vezes que interagia. Se você quer que mentes high capacity fiquem em suas vidas, você precisa criar espaços onde elas não tenham que performar, fixar ou sustentar as paredes. Você precisa oferecer espaços reais, reciprocidade real e segurança psicológica genuína. Porque uma mente inteligente percebe que sua presença custa mais do que dá, ela vai embora. Ela não vai fazer birra, ela não vai gritar. They will simply close the door so softly you will not even hear the latch click until they are already miles away.